Hello and welcome to the British QuadballUK 2023 final. My name is Alex Lewis. I am your host. I am joined on my left by
Tzana. You've heard my voice a couple times this weekend already on the stream.
Welcome. And on my right,
Arjun, Sharma. You've heard my voice multiple times this week as well. Weekend as well.
And you've heard my voice plenty as well. We're your team for this final. Velociraptors on my right and LQC on the left. What do you think about this matchup coming up ahead today, Corni?
I think it will be a very physical game. We've seen the Raptors do some big hits, and they have some big people on the team that are not afraid to drive and get physical.
Now, this is a rematch of a game played earlier today, a game in which Raptors won. How do you think that's going to influence the game going forward, Arjun?
Well, as the person who commentated that game, I think it's going to influence it quite heavily, actually. I think Raptors know they can beat LQC now. Yes, you are on. You can wave if you want, Banan. Banan's mum, she's saying hello. You can come here, Banan. Come quickly. Come say what you want to say.
Anijim.
There you go, brilliant. That was Banan doing a shout out to her mum. Is it back in Turkey? Yeah. Yeah, back in Turkey.
Shout out to Turkey.
Big up Banan's mum.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, I think that it's gonna the mental edge right now is with Raptors, but I think the mental edge is with Raptors. But I think LQC know that and know that they have the chance to repeat winning. Both teams here actually have a chance to repeat win the BQC. Both have lifted the trophy once before, and I just think that I have a very inkling that the underdog will have it here, and I'm pretty sure we can't tell who the underdog is as well.
No, I think that's the thing. We're going into this, I think a lot of people wrote Raptors off, but when you look at this and you go, one team's beaten the other today, then surely that must be the underdog. Who would you be sort of feeling for that?
I keep hearing people talk about how Raptors had a bit of an off time and are
Sorry, we have to adjust
today with their performance. So I think in the eyes of the people, it's the Raptors, but who's to say how this game will go?
I think definitely the start will be key, and we are getting ready to start.
Shall we go through the starting lineups then,
yes.
Alex? Melpass versus Duan, right?
Yes.
And Davies versus Orridge for the Bludger. You've got Bexlow, Fraser Bosford, Emily Heimers, Andrew Hull for Raptors, and with Marsha. And then Banan, Ruben, and I want to assume
Karina.
Werner,
Yes.
Karina Werner.
And that is...
And LQC come away with control now. But Raptors come away with a quaffle. Ball now with Andrew Hull.
Now, Corni, what position do you normally play out of interest for analysis?
I am a chaser, have been a chaser for a very long time in the US League.
Now, we see here Raptors forming a sort of good diamond, sort of a rotated box, and a 2-2 defense from LQC. Very standard formations for both here. The question will come sitting back for the beaters now. Emily Heim is the unarmed beater.
There. Looks like we have a bludger down.
Oh, a lovely shot by Andrew Hull.
And that was a very good work from Hull, very patient as well. I think that's going to be key in this final, is make sure that they don't let it run away from them. Would you agree, Corni?
I think so, and with the game like this, you know, passions and tensions can run pretty high. We've seen a few situations this weekend where teams got very into the game and the physical contact of things. So it's always important to balance that out with patience and just sticking to your basics and the stuff you've been working on all season.
Yeah, and that is Ben Malpass over to Bexlow, back to Malpass again. Similarly, keeping it very patient.
Right now for Melpass. Melpass looking to see if Ruben is free. Banan now on his left. Pressured, passes off to Banan. Banan looking for an option, back to Thompson. Thompson behind hoops, steps one. Tries to pass off to Low. It's going to go over the boundary. Going to be a turnover. Fraser will now inbound the ball for Raptors. Slowly bringing the forward down the near side towards the cameras at the moment. Control with LQC. Jacopo and Werner with on are your beaters for LQC, and Bill and Emily Heimer's still your beaters for Raptors.
And Raptors seem to be really working with flipping the field, moving that ball all the way behind the hoops and back, which we haven't seen too many teams do, just physically move the ball around instead of just passing it, which can be a very successful tactic, especially when you have those stack beaters near the hoops.
It's very interesting because we saw when LKC did go up, as you say, they like to favour the passing it around the box. But I think almost we can see the fact that a lot of the time Raptors have got a diamond shape of the box because they're moving around and they're having to rotate that around, as you say.
I would say more of a kite, personally. I feel like they're playing this very handball-esque offense where you get 3 players sort of to shift the ball around the edges of the pitch and then move it back and forth to just retain protection.
I think as Corni said, perfect beat from Jacopo. But I think as Corni was saying, a good thing with the movement is they also move around with it a lot. They don't stay static in that box, which is a good thing. But that was a fantastic beat from Jacopo, but also fantastic run from Hull to collect the ball and the vision to pick him out.
And I think that's due to LQC having like a very physical defense. Like, we all know that they're big hitters on LQC. So when moving this ball, staying in motion makes it more difficult to...
Oh, and there is a no-bludger situation if they can put the pressure on.
Back to
Bexlow, tackle made to Bex, drops her broom. Bill
Fraser.
Protecting Fraser. Fraser pops it in.
By Fraser.
That was a bit unfortunate for Bexlow there, dropping it with the contact. Great pressure from Raptors though there, wasn't it?
Yep, lovely beat there by Lucy on Bill. Good throwback to Emily Heimers. Heimers picks... No bludgers. Ooh, great stop. Oh. Getting their brooms down. They are going to determine whether or not that was a goal.
What would you say about that, Corny? Do you think in or not?
It's always difficult to assess when there's so many people around the hoops and the hoop is in the falling trajectory. But hoping that the many refs that we utilize in this sport will have an eye for it. It's interesting. Very few sports are as complicated to follow for refs as quadball, I would say. You need so many people to keep track of all the different balls and positions and movement that is happening.
And just a side note, every goal ref for the final has been, for this final at least, is an AR qualified ref, so they are able to make calls that are in reference to actual gameplay. So they would, you would hope that when calls like this need to be made, they actually have an insight and understanding of the rules to be able to adjudicate what needs to happen.
That's very good. Thank you, both of you. It is, and ultimately that ended up being called no good. We have Andrew Hulse almost just sitting through it, a massive scrap, and the ball is collected by Fraser Posford. Score remains 2-0 to Raptors.
I was surprised that because it was a foul, I'm surprised they didn't choose to take the ball at the boundary. I think it would have been the safer option. You could have recycled possession a lot easier. But I feel like when you're also that close to hoops, you want to go for glory.
Very true. And I think maybe also, I think they want to just commit one person, and maybe for boundary they have to fill it, have to maybe put a bit more in.
Now, Alex, I've got a question for you, actually. What's the common phrase that I always hear out of your mouth during games? Something to do with shots?
Oh, the shot is always on. That is something to always note. In a final, it's a difficult one. Shot is on right now, to say, from our angle, and the centre hoop. But I do wonder, it takes a brave player to see the shot. Oh, for a moment, I thought he might go for it. It takes a brave player to see a shot and go for it. But the beat has been hit on Hull. Malpass breaking away. And that's a classic Malpass goal, that, isn't it?
That was beautiful. Straight beeline, but not falling for that first side of the hoop, just making sure that it went in by passing from the back.
Malpass is definitely one of the cooler heads of Quidditch, really, making more or less always the right decision in terms of, as you say, keeping it calm, putting it in the hoop. We have got bludger possession with LQC. The veteran partnership of Dan and Lucy.
You had a lot to say about the last time they were on pitch when we commentated the game earlier this morning, Alex. I think everything you said then still relevant now, seeing as we're only a few hours away. Oh, Haynes drives past one.
I will say, I think
it out towards Andrew Hull.
it's been difficult to keep a track of everything going on, but the few times I've looked up, I think Dan won't begrudge me saying that his aim's been a bit off now.
But he's now going to go for a napalm.
But I've seen just
and
a
we
few.
saw how successful in the first game that napalm was.
Yeah.
Oh, and a big hit on Sam Burkett there. Ben driving, misses, still has the ball, runs through two.
Oh wow, that was
Great
incredible
start
work
by
from
Andrew
Marsh's,
Hall.
and no, but the tackling from Marsh's vent to slow it down as
yes,
well was
agreed.
impeccable. That was though, that opportunity, as we've said, came from the fantastic off-ball play from Dan Trick. What do you feel about? We don't see it as often, Corni, about the tackling game for beaters.
Speaking as a chaser, long-time chaser, I think that's another thing that the two-arm tackling has really changed quite a bit. I think it's given a lot of beaters more opportunities to engage and steal those bludgers back. It's been really exciting to see some.
For dribbling, sorry.
It's been exciting to see some physicality from beaters of all skill levels. Really, people have been making those hits and getting down on the ground and fighting for those balls for dear life.
I think the two-arm tackling as well, it allows them to pin the bludger arm. Before, when they shackle one arm, they just able to just hit you on the shoulder as you were lower down. I think, as you're saying, two-arm tackling has allowed that to be a more effective strategy, as opposed to, I think, in the old days, with one-arm tackling, you had to just hit them hard if you wanted to get that bludger from them.
Absolutely, and that is a rule that has been good and alive in the U.S. for a couple of seasons now. And we've definitely seen the benefits in terms of the defensive tactics of it. A lot more people able to hit, able to make stops, even with much bigger players.
I don't know if you agree with me, Arjun. Is it just he's not got many options, but Malpass is kind of trying to go it alone quite a few times.
I think it's more the play from the beaters has dictated the drive for Ben. I think LQC, sorry, have identified that the drive against this quite big defense that Raptors trying to put in front of them is actually quite breakable. When they have no bludgers, they seem to get very compact, and the only way you can beat a very compact defense is running it through, getting those hands through the hoop and scoring that way. Raptors now moving the ball wide around the hoops. Ball with kind of Fields now. Field to Hull. Hull looking for an option, looking for a drive. Hull has the drive.
Oh my word! What a block! Dan Trick! Dan Trick! Showing he can do it all. He can chase, he can tackle, he can beat, he can do it all, it seems.
Malpass now bringing the ball up on the side. Lucy in front with the bludger. Dan Trick looking to sub for Jacopo now. We've also had a change in beaters for Raptors in that Claude is now on and Gabri is now on. Sam Burkett is no longer on.
Gabri would definitely bring a different energy to Burkett. Gabri's a bit more of a stronger arm.
I think I'd agree with you there, Alex. I think the strength we're going to see from Gabri is going to be more important.
Oh, what a goal!
Nice shot by... Was that Malpass who scored that again?
I presume it must have been. Tua Carling off for Beck's low.
Our score is currently 20-20. It seems like LQC have found the rhythm after those first couple of goals that have been driven in by the Raptors.
Yeah, I agree with you. It definitely feels like Raptors are getting a lot, not as close to goals as LQC are. Raptors are doing well to stop a lot of the chance from LQC, but they were always seeming a bit too close, whereas Raptors aren't quite able to get there.
Just as a side note in the chat, people are asking, did both teams agree to 3 max? The answer is no, but if they are playing it, that is out their own accord.
I think
Malpass looking to try and run the ball there without actually having the quaffle in hand.
I think, as far as I'm aware, LQC have gone with the intention to play 3 max as much as possible. I don't think Velociraptors have stated that as an intention.
No.
And a goal for Ruben Thompson. A beautiful little pop-off by Malpass when he finally got the ball. Yeah. And a simple little goal that we've seen many times before in different games for LQC. That right hoop, really beloved by Malpass.
I will say LQC has some really physical female chasers that they've been playing on the field for a reason. Bennen is always ready to make a hit and attack a person carrying a ball, which can be very frustrating to play against, but it is obviously really working out for LQC and has been all weekend. And same for the rest of their players. They are really capable of keeping their own on their field.
I agree. It's one where there is some people may feel like a 3 max is
Oh,
some
lovely
kind of
net pull
implied
there.
drop-off, but that is definitely not the case with LQC at all. That is a goal by Malpass. But yeah, I'd agree with you that a big credit is that whilst it's not necessarily deep, the main female chasers for LQC are a great, fantastic level of quality, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I think it really shows when teams put in the time and effort to make sure that their female chasers are, up to par and trained at the same level as the rest of the team. I feel like, as a female chaser myself, a lot of times they tend to be sort of left to the wayside, which does not help anyone on the field, really. So it shows that these teams have been putting in the time and effort to bring these players up to their best abilities.
I hope that with the 3 max we'll start to see more encouraged ball carrying, as we're seeing, say, with LQC. I've still some great runs from Tua Carling in sort of safe reset.
And just speaking of the defense that you guys are talking about with the physicality of their non-male players, I think that's just every player on LQC. They all play really physical on defense and get in the faces. Like that last play was the turnover caused by the physicality pressuring both the 2 chasers that were throwing the ball. Launched it a little bit too short for Andrew Hull to pick up. Malpass grabbed it, and then a lovely little bit of footwork to run that goal in. Hull with the ball now on our near side.
Here's the question. We're now at 4-2 to LQC, which is quite impressive considering they were 2-0 down at one point. If they concede another, should Raptors call a timeout?
No. I
No.
think that at the moment the game is where you expected it to be
Mm-hmm.
coming into it. I think if you get to a point where there's an issue, then yes, I would look for it. But if not, don't worry. I think they have a game plan. If the game plan starts falling away, then yes. Personally, yes. But timeout isn't relevant right now. You're only down 2. You've both got very good seekers. I think you can win it off catching like you did this morning. I wouldn't worry.
That's very, very fair.
It does seem like the stalemate for Raptors happened once Fraser subbed out as their keeper, correct? Because
But I guess maybe that's the thing, is almost the presence of 2 keeper-esque players in Hull and Posford is maybe that sort of driving force. Maybe they need a Haynes back on who would be similar for that.
Yeah, and Fraser is very aggressive with his runs and drives, so he has the ability to make those hard plays for the score.
I do think that's a very fair point. I think you are right in noticing that. I think that when the safe reset has changed, we've noted a decrease in output by LQC.
And now we've got a no bludger situation for our LQC. Malpass runs past 1, pass 2, up and in.
Pops.
Lovely 3 drives now by Ben Malpass to get them quick goals.
It really has to be said that Malpass, he makes it look easy, but he is incredibly talented, isn't he? He's a phenomenon.
Alex, you mentioned the Raptors maybe should think about calling a timeout. I believe they are now doing that.
There you go. I just think it's a classic one where when you've conceded X amount unanswered, you do sometimes have to just take a time to break that momentum, because the momentum is clearly swinging against Raptors.
In the same way as well. In the same way, I think you have to look at when you're conceding consistently the same way, you have to fix that. There's unless you're going to change that by going, we're going to sub everyone off and bring on players that we've had a chat with on the sideline, which I don't think Raptors will look to do here. I think they are happy with the personnel, just need to get the instructions. Look, we need to change something. What is the reason why we're conceding in this way? Have that quick discussion, make the relevant changes, push through to try and level the score.
But it's not just conceding, obviously. They have conceded 5, but they have gone from scoring 2 very quickly to now scoring none. What do you think they need to change on their offense, Corni?
I think they are really getting burned in those turnover moments. They seem to be taking their time setting up the defense, and they're just not able to get back on their hoops before LQC is able to make those quick drives. I think there needs to be more preparedness, perhaps from the beaters as well, for that turnaround, and the chasers need to hustle back and try and get in the way a little quicker.
I think it is interesting because actually I know that Raptors at various points have talked about how if you're going to lose the ball, at least lose it on a shot or behind the hoops. And you are right in pointing out that they've been few too many times where they haven't actually been in that position. They've been losing it in front of hoops. And I wonder, is that the beaters? Is that mistakes from the chaser line? Is it both, maybe?
It's poor passes, I personally think. It's these long balls that they're playing as well from behind hoops to the front to try and reset the ball and play this system that they're looking for.
The issue is they're being patient, but almost it's costing them.
Yes, agreed. Well, I know. I don't think the patience is costing them. I think it is just literally the poor passes. They've been just underthrown or not with enough power or under a little bit too much pressure.
So they shouldn't stop doing those. They should just do them better almost.
Be a bit more calmer. I think calmer with the
Oh,
ball.
okay, yeah. Whereas she passed under pressure, wasn't able to get the right form in because of the tackle.
And now Melpas has the drive again. Oh, great offload to
Dumped
Benan there. And that's a lovely goal for LQC. All one on the from the pass. You're hoping Orage makes... Oh, that's unlucky for Orage, but he's going to contest it against Satori. Satori wins the beater battle and sends Orage back to hoops.
To be honest, you couldn't have asked for a better proof of what you were saying there, Arjun, could you? In terms of a goal that came from a loose pass that wasn't done so well, passing back, and that they got a fast break from that.
I'll be honest, I've been having played, getting hit on the counter is really painful. In that it becomes frustrating for you as a team because it's hard to fix. It's one where you need to hit the player early, but Melpas has great feet. It's really difficult to stop them on the drive. Lovely ball back now to Andrew Hull with the ball now.
Really, the only way you can stop a fast counter is to not lose the ball in the first place, really, isn't it?
Agreed. Most definitely. Great stop there for one. Mel recovers the bludger.
Corni,
Lucy,
I don't know how
Lucy
you tend to
beat
play
by
on
Orange.
the sides, but
Great
are
run
they
by
utilising
Bell.
their players behind? Are Raptors utilising their options? Or do they need to utilise them? Is it maybe they're not making the runs? Is there anything from the passing options you think they could be doing better?
I'm not sure if the passing options are the play. Another thing I was going to note is that they, unlike the first few minutes of the game where they scored those goals, they have stopped doing that run behind the hoops and moving that ball with their feet versus the passes. And with LQC maintaining that bludger control for a good portion of that game and keeping those beaters tight on the hoops, unless you make some dramatic moves with the ball and really get those beaters distracted and questioning what you're going to do, it's very tricky to get the ball through.
I wonder if it's maybe a mentality thing as well, with the amount of pressure, as you say, the beaters are putting on them. They're making the runs because they're worried that if they get it, they're just going to lose it like we've seen before. I wonder if that's a thing that's affecting maybe them. They're worried that if they're running, they're seeing like they've got no options.
Oh, it looks like we're going for a fast drive-by and...
Oh! I thought it went in!
Unfortunate from Jake Hadcock there. He's actually had loads of opportunities like that all day and scored 2 of the similar goals again in the first game. I think that what came from there was the great beater trade by Bill. Bill really pressuring Lucy and Dan at the same time with the bludger to force turnovers. I think that it was really just a really good beater trading. I'm surprised that LQC didn't take advantage of the no bludger situation at the time, but Raptors looking to abuse the counter there. As we were saying with the beaters, I think one thing LQC have done really well over the last couple of games is retain control. Oh, lucky there by Bill. Control now back with LQC. Bex with it. Passed across to Ruben. Ruben now with the ball coming down the...
If Raptors are going to turn it around, do you feel like having now put on Posford, having now Orange as beater, this is surely the time where they would be able to bring it around if they were going to?
They've gone for a very aggressive lineup here to try and get another goal before Snitch on pitch. Keep it really tight, really close, with Raptors being up 4.
LQC being up 4.
Sorry, LQC, yes, sorry, I got the names confused. LQC up 4. I think that's really going to impact how Raptors have to play the next couple of minutes. They need to get at least 2, in my opinion. I think you need it to be a catch-to-win game, not an overtime game. I think LQC, in an attrition-based game, will force it and be able to get those goals. They've been getting this counter-attack, whereas Raptors have been struggling with the goals. I think the opportunity for Raptors to score is there, though, now. I think being able to move the ball as well as they can with Fraser and Hull now, there should be a better opportunity.
I'd agree with you there.
No call made by Eamon there.
LQC passing it back to... Oh!
Great.
And that was an incredible save by... Oh,
No,
maybe.
Goal called good.
Goal called good. Douglas Bryant, assistant referee, thinking it.
But all of the other refs
Wasn't-
said it was good.
Except for Eamon, who technically is the one that matters. Goal is good. That is 7-2 to LQC.
5-2 lead now. A 5-point lead for LQC. I don't think we're going to see Malpass sub this game. I think he's going to play through the entire game.
Oh yeah, he didn't sub in the semi-final. I doubt he will sub this one.
Or the first game.
He did sub against Raptors, and I think if you could make a... Oh, there is frustration in the Raptors line from this brooms down.
It's more that this is a Hull is through in on goal with momentum.
It is incredibly fair, but
with momentum, and now he's being put back to a position where, I'm going to be really honest, it's favourable for LQC. I can see why Hull would be frustrated. It depends on if it was an injury call or if it's a real serious foul. But I completely empathise with Hull here. He is through in on goal for a very...
It is a yellow card to Emily Heimers.
Oh, that...
Out of interest, Corni, because we saw there Hull and Pulsar getting both frustrated. How important is mentality in these kind of games?
And a quaffle turnover as well, sorry.
In terms of not getting a quaffle turnover as well to Ben Malpass. How important is it not to lose your head in these kind of games?
I think it can honestly make or break a team.
Bill Orange right there, just absolutely dominating with the beta game. Oh, great beat again!
Talking mentality, this is a person playing on confidence. I was going to make a point that Ben Malpass...
Solo holding control right now.
I was going to say that Ben Malpass person playing on confidence. Bill Orange also won. But as you were saying, Corni, it's so important to keep that confidence going, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's...
Oh my word!
And another run for LQC with the beater right there to defend.
But Bill's now here, and Hull's tripped up by Ben Malpass. Oh, that was a bit much from Geneva. I don't know, it feels a bit controversial, that movement.
Personally, from what I saw there, Geneva came off broom and blocked the player that was running.
I'd agree with that.
And no call was made. No call was made, which is why I'm interested in what happened.
Our third commentator, Corni, what do you think about that one? Do you feel like it was maybe just innocent, not unaware of the game, or do you think maybe it was a bit of a... Geneva was a bit aware of what she was doing?
It's always hard to say, isn't it? I feel like we've all been in situations where you just are trying so hard to go for that ball and pick it up and save it, where you're not fully thinking about the specifics of what you do. And sometimes it does end up being unintentional. I think it really depends on the player.
If you were Raptors, you would feel really aggrieved. That unfortunate trip of Hull over the beat body of Malpass, and then Geneva getting in the way of Joe Crichton. Oh no, Anuska Brennan, I think. Anuska anyway. Then it feels like just nothing can go right for them this game, can it?
The ball, I think you take the shot here. I think if I'm Anuska, I look for the far hoop and look to just push it.
Yellow card, Geneva. Yeah, so they're cool.
Turnover to Anushka.
The call was that it was an illegal interaction. No, you got the middle hoop.
No, I would shoot.
This is the issue of I think Anushka is someone who not
choosing to take it to the back line.
Oh, that Anushka is not someone who is flush on confidence as a bit less of an experienced player on the Raptors team, and I think that showed. I think a player who's played more.
If I was Fraser there, I'd be backing my team up. I'd be like hyping them up, being like, "Yeah, you got this. Don't worry about me. You got this."
Yeah, I see that point.
Almost intercepted.
But I think if he had a more experienced player on that, I think they would have gone for the shot.
Okay, so they recover the quaffle. I personally think you should have taken advantage on that. You were in a really good position to score.
I think I agree with you that I disagree with the decision to put it to the boundary. Would you agree with that, Corni? Do you see the merit in it?
There was that beater right there, and I could see the...
Oh, she's done it anyway. There you go. There's the goal that Anushka's been waiting for. And a kick beat by Emily Heimers. But there is the goal that Anushka had been waiting for. Well done to her. A beautifully worked team goal, wouldn't you say, Corni?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That was some great ball movement. But I think with the threat of the beater right on her back right there in that moment, it might have been the best decision to prevent LQC from quickly picking up that ball and doing another one of their quick runs into the opposing hoops. It's interesting because this is not a rule that exists in U.S. Quidditch of being able to take that from the edge of the pitch. So it really brings a new side to the tactics.
Goal is not good.
Beat before, I think, is
Beat
the
before. That is gutting. Raptors need to make sure return the title. They can't let the heads drop. because this is yet another setback. It really feels like it's just not their day for this game, is it?
I don't think that it's not their day. I think LQC are now playing where they know they are. They had the toughest semi, and as we've come to learn with these things, the tougher semi sets you up so much more for this final. It happened to Werewolves last year when they were playing for the trophy. They had the tougher final against great kick beat way.
It just feels like, though, obviously I get what you mean, but sometimes it's just like the luck, the elements of the small things are going LQC's way, and they're just not going Raptors.
Yep, agreed, Alex. And have you noticed what's now happened, Alex?
I don't know if I have.
Right in front of us.
The Snitch has been released.
Flag runner, Alex.
Sorry, flag runner. Now, Corni, we've got, actually, ironically, Arjun and I discussed at the last game about whether you'd want Morton or you'd want Trev.
But it's neither of them.
Yeah, it's neither this time. Corni, that is a goal by Jake Adcock. 1 for 1. That brings our scores to a score I count as 8-3, I think. 8-3. 5 out. If it were to catch by Raptors, they would take it to 5 away from the set score. That would be 3 away for LQC.
Shout out to my boy Jake Adcock for scoring there. We've got Jonathan Purvis versus Tom Haynes for the run to Seekers.
Tom, both, I can see why they chose the
Bubbles.
Seekers. Tom Haynes, the Seeker who won the game for them last against LQC.
Ooh,
Teach
that's
the
really
one.
close by Purvis.
Teach
Purvis
the one
really
who-
working here.
Teach
One
having
hand,
fought
two
against
hand.
Werewolves. And where are the
Why-
beaters?
we
Beaters. Here's the interesting question. Beaters
Ooh,
for
Haynes still on.
Velociraptors
Beat by
are
Satori.
staying on Quaffle.
Yeah, you want to end this. You're up. You can afford to play the man attrition game.
But would you, if you were Raptors, Corny, would you agree with this of Raptors not beating the Seeker?
I wouldn't. I think when they have the opportunity to get that catch and get really back in the game, I think their players should, their chasers should try to be way more physical on defense and leave the beaters to handle the Seeker and get him out. I know I mentioned earlier that Raptors have been playing pretty physical, but we have not seen a lot of hits on defense to stop some of those drives.
I think almost the way the circumstance gives to them, they can't really do those hits.
Change from Purvis to Davies. Davies really going for it now. I think we really should focus on the Seeker game because
Yeah.
it seems like they are both going
Well,
bubble.
that's the
and
thing.
trade.
Oh, are they now
Oh,
going the ball?
great
Oh,
goal
no,
by
go
Arjun
for goal.
Hall
I love that.
Ooh, Haynes
I do have to
attacking
call
there.
out the wonderful moment, Arjun, of we have to focus on the Seeker game, and then immediately we're commenting on the
yeah,
chasing game. But it was a very good goal. But it does seem like, as you say, the bubble is now being formed, which I definitely agree with. I think
4-point
whilst
game,
you may
yeah,
be worried,
100%.
whilst you may be worried about losing more in the chaser game, ultimately, if they catch the Snitch, you lose it. So it's irregardless, really, about your
Help us trade to
QPD.
get the goal back. That's the whole point. Oh, Hemingway almost catching there. Davies now going for it. Oh, and now it's Ben Morton. Are we going to see the signature move to catch? Used once before to win a BQC medal, gold medal. Will it happen again? 1, 2. Oh
my word, so close.
The classic move came out again. Morton,
It's just there's just no stopping it, is there?
it's insane. It's an insane move.
That was so quick.
I feel like the beaters need to be more aware that there is Ben Morton
Ooh.
on the pitch. There could not be any deadlier of a threat to your chance of a gold medal than Ben Morton being against you.
Wow, that was
Oh,
yeah!
he just flies, that man, doesn't he?
especially with the sprint in from the sub box. If you hadn't mentioned it, I would not have been watching for it. I would have blinked and missed it.
Oh,
No, I was
Chloe
surprised
Hemingway
at
trying to get in that extra point. Chloe Hemingway also has her fair share of catches as well in her career.
Ooh!
Oh my word. Oh, and now the
Great
beaters have
beat by
returned to
Satori.
the bubble.
They'll pass the Quaffle
And now, Tej now on as the Seeker
Jonathan
instead. And
Purvis back
now
in.
a swap for Lisa. Oh, and that is it!
That was so clean. So clean. I don't think I've seen a catch cleaner today. Great side swipe. As Mihal turned away, quick glance of the Snitch, grabs it with those long gangly arms. I don't see a reason that can't be called good. Also with the score at what it is, very much expected.
That would be, the score is currently 9-4. It would be 12-4 to LQC. You've got to say, it must be difficult for the Snitch Corny when you have such a dynamic, leaping seeker like Morton to then have to deal with the long limbs of Tej and the sort of calmer style, it must be really difficult to change that up constantly.
Definitely, and especially, I don't know how some of these snitches manage to keep up with multiple great seekers that are really diving for those catches.
And that is it. Catch is called good, which means that your British QuadballUK Cup champions 2023 are London QuadballUK Cup. Is this Club, sorry, Cup, yes.
I just want to say big congratulations to LQC. They've really put in a shift in today to get there. And big shout out to Raptors as well. They've really put in a shift. Pulled that surprise win off this morning to actually get them to this position.
I think that's definitely, whilst they didn't unfortunately get the second win against LQC, the first win was so vital to making sure that they didn't have to beat that team in the semi-final. And I think that was a key thing for them. But both teams have to be credited for their mentality. Raptors for coming in underdogs, for feeling like they have underperformed in the community fixtures and knowing that they can do better and showing they can do better. LQC for coming away with a loss to then beat the harder team that people felt they should be facing in the final, and then to come against the team that so shocked them in the morning and to then beat them. It takes a lot.
Yeah. Also, don't remind Corni of what happened earlier.
My apologies,
Corni.
It's okay. It's all part of the sport. Nothing to be done. LQC deserved this win. They really played with some hard runs and hard work. So congratulations to them.
And congratulations to us silver medalists, Raptors.
Also, I think this is a really good turnaround story from last season, losing on that on the shot last year to now coming back this year and proving why they deserved to be in that final originally, and now why they deserve to be your champions for the British QuadballUK Cup 2023. God, it's a lot of words, isn't it, Alex?
Is. But it was also quite a nice something to mention as a wider narrative, is that the team that has won has been a team that has predominantly set out to play 3 max. Yeah. Not by any rules, but this is something that should be commended for the team, that they have come out and they have shown that it doesn't change anything about a team. They can go and win BQC.
Yeah, the crazy concept. Women can be good athletes too. It's just a matter of ensuring that you help them get there with the time and training and the opportunities to try things out and mess things up and learn from the mistakes without feeling like they're, letting their teammates down just for, missing a catch or missing a goal. There is a lot of talent in these teams, even from the players that you can't see it quite yet. And I think if you put in the care for those players, you can really see some amazing results coming up.
Honestly, could not have phrased that better myself. Thank you, Corni. But yeah, that has been.
Good words to end on.
They are, and that has been the BQC final. Your winners are LQC, silver medalist Raptors, and bronze medalists Werewolves of London. I have been Alex Lewis.
I've been Arjun Sharma.
And Cornelia Tzana.
Thank you very much.